The Bible is undoubtedly one of the most influential books in history, but is it truly reliable? This is a question that many have asked over the centuries. Considered by billions to be the Word of God, the Bible has become the subject of both study and scrutiny. Amid ancient manuscripts, fulfilled prophecies, and historical accounts, this collection of sacred texts sparks curiosity. But what really ensures its impact? The mission is to explore these layers and uncover what truly makes the Bible a trustworthy document, based on historical and archaeological evidence. The goal here is to investigate the Bible's evidence objectively, yet with depth. Are there elements that support its authenticity over time? We will understand how, despite its many translations, the Bible has preserved its core message. Why do so many scholars and archaeologists affirm that the biblical texts are authentic? The answer lies not only in the biblical accounts but also in the external evidence that confirms the Bible's coherence, preservation, and influence. This is the starting point of a fascinating journey. The faithful transmission of Scripture over the centuries is one of the key aspects to consider. The Bible was manually copied by generations of scribes with almost obsessive attention to accuracy. This was no simple task. In fact, any mistake could compromise the content. For this reason, over millennia, this responsibility was carried out with extreme care. Now, the question remains, how does this reflect in the biblical innovations we have today? To grasp this complexity, it is essential to examine the evidence we possess, such as the ancient manuscripts that have survived. Among the most notable are the Dead Sea Scrolls, which provide us with a direct glimpse into the past. These millennia-old texts shed light on the Bible's preservation and its fidelity over time. But this is just the beginning of the journey. We will explore how the Bible's history and its translations shape our perception of its perfection. Therefore, to answer the question, is the Bible reliable, we must look at the historical and archaeological evidence that supports this claim. Clearly, we understand the impact this work has had on the world and continues to have. There is much more to be discovered, and each piece of evidence opens new doors to this mystery, which unfolds into a rich and complex narrative. Faithful transmission over the centuries. Since its earliest records, the Bible has undergone a process of manual copying that, at first glance, might seem prone to errors. However, the scribes who dedicated themselves to this task did so with extraordinary rigor. They were not just copyists, they were guardians of the sacred text. Every line, every word, was meticulously written and verified, and any error could mean starting the work from scratch. This level of care reinforces the preservation of the Bible and its integrity over time. The accuracy of the scribes was so precise that they implemented extremely specific rules to ensure that the texts were reproduced without mistakes. Jewish scribes, for example, counted every letter, word, and verse to ensure that nothing was altered. This counting method was one of the most effective ways to guarantee the text's fidelity. Biblical manuscripts that have been discovered, such as the Dead Sea Scrolls, prove that the current content differs very little from what was written thousands of years ago. The Bible is reliable not only for its message but also because of the extreme care taken in its transmission. The methods used by the scribes were so detailed that even the structure of the text was taken into account. Small marks and signs helped ensure that the texts were identical, regardless of the time or distance between copies. This dedication is one of the reasons why the Bible has withstood the wear and tear of the centuries, remaining a coherent and authentic document. If we think about it, the process of preserving the biblical texts was almost an impossible mission, yet they have reached us nearly intact. Today, as we analyze ancient manuscripts and compare them with modern translations, we notice the consistency of the text over time. The history of the Bible is strengthened when we observe that, even after millennia, its words remain the same. The preservation of the Bible over the centuries is a remarkable achievement, especially considering the challenges of reproducing texts before the invention of the printing press. More than just a simple book, the Bible was safeguarded by a lineage of highly trained scribes whose mission was to ensure its integrity. As we reflect on the preservation of the Bible, we can imagine the impact this has on the trust many place in the Scriptures. It is remarkable how, in an era without technology, the scribes were able to keep the essence of the texts intact. And when we look at this evidence, we realize that there is much more to discover as we investigate the role of ancient manuscripts and their influence on the translations we have today. After all, what role do these manuscripts play in the Bible's history? Ancient manuscripts as evidence. Ancient manuscripts play a crucial role in demonstrating the consistency of biblical texts over time. One of the most significant discoveries in this regard was the Dead Sea Scrolls, unearthed in 1947. These texts, which date back more than 2,000 years, contain significant portions of the Old Testament and, remarkably, show very little difference from the versions we have today. This discovery is one of the strongest pieces of evidence for the Bible's preservation over the centuries, confirming that biblical texts were transmitted with great accuracy. These manuscripts serve as a window into the past, allowing scholars to compare ancient texts with modern versions. What's most fascinating is that, despite the vast time span between the original writings and these discoveries, the integrity of the texts has been maintained. This not only reinforces the Bible's reliability but also gives us insight into how scribes throughout history were meticulous in their mission to preserve biblical accounts. These documents prove that even after millennia, the essence of the Bible's message has remained unchanged. Another example of ancient manuscripts includes the Codex Sinaiticus and the Codex Vaticanus, two of the oldest complete Bibles, both dating to the 4th century. These physical records offer historians and theologians a solid foundation for affirming that the texts we read today are faithful to their original sources. These ancient manuscripts not only confirm the continuity of the biblical text but also show that the Bible has been preserved through the ages, making it one of the most well-documented works in history. The historical accuracy of the Bible, reinforced by ancient manuscripts, is further supported by archaeological studies that validate the truth of many events and characters described in the Scriptures. Discovering, preserving, and studying each of these manuscripts is like assembling a puzzle that ultimately reveals a clear and cohesive picture. The Bible is reliable because it transcends time, overcoming historical and cultural barriers, while its words remain consistent with the original versions, as evidenced by these ancient texts. Therefore, when we examine ancient manuscripts, we are not just looking at historical documents but at essential pieces that support the authenticity of the Bible. These archaeological finds are historical proof, and they also serve as a reminder that the Bible is not just a book, but a living record of humanity's interactions with the divine. As we study these texts, we can see the profound impact they have had on the development of modern Bible translations, an essential next step in our journey. Translations and reliable sources. The Bible translations we have today are based on reliable and well-preserved manuscripts. These manuscripts have been meticulously examined by experts over the centuries, ensuring that modern versions retain the essence of the original texts. For example, common translations like the King James Bible or the New International Version are based on sources that include ancient manuscripts in Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek. This helps maintain textual integrity even as the text is adapted into different languages. The number of languages into which the Bible has been translated is impressive. Today, the biblical text is available in over 3,000 languages, reaching people all around the world. This is one of the factors that enhances the Bible's impact on society. Bible translation allows diverse cultures to access the same message, preserving the thematic unity and updates of the biblical message. This demonstrates how the effort to translate the Bible over the centuries has been essential for its global accessibility. Each Bible translation undergoes a careful verification process. Translators use ancient sources, such as the Dead Sea Scrolls and various codices, to ensure that the text remains true to its origins. This process is carried out by teams of experts who are proficient in the original languages and attentive to every detail. Thus, modern translations are not merely adaptations but are based on meticulous research, which reinforces confidence in the Scriptures and the Bible's accuracy as a historical document. A good example of a reliable translation is the Septuagint, the Greek translation of the Old Testament made in the 3rd century BCE. It served as the basis for many subsequent versions of the Bible and is a clear example of how faithful transmission of the text is maintained, even in other languages. Additionally, this version allowed the biblical text to spread further, reaching peoples who did not know Hebrew. Thus, we see how translations also help preserve the Bible's history and relevance. With so many translations available, it's important to remember that they all share a common goal: to ensure that the original text remains accessible and understandable to people from different times and cultures. Faithfulness to the original sources and attention to accuracy are factors that make Bible translations reliable. As we consider the archaeological evidence that supports biblical accounts, we see how it directly connects with the reliability of the Scriptures. Archaeological evidence supporting biblical accounts. Archaeology plays a crucial role in confirming biblical accounts. A classic example is the discovery of the ruins of Jericho, mentioned in the book of Joshua. Excavations of the ancient walls of this city revealed that it was indeed destroyed in a manner consistent with the biblical narrative. This finding is one of several that corroborate the accuracy of the events described in the Scriptures, providing historical evidence for the Bible's reliability. After all, biblical facts like these are more than mere stories, they are evidence of the Bible's authenticity. Another significant find is the Pilate stone, an inscription confirming the existence of Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor who played a crucial role in Jesus' trial. For a long time, Pilate was known primarily through biblical texts and a few Roman sources. However, with the discovery of this stone in Caesarea, the historicity of this figure was confirmed indisputably, showing that the biblical accounts are consistent with secular history. This illustrates how archaeology helps solidify the historical evidence of biblical texts. The Kingdom of David, frequently mentioned in the Scriptures, has also found support in modern archaeology. For years, many skeptical scholars questioned David's existence as a historical figure. However, the discovery of the Tel Dan stele, which explicitly mentions the House of David, provided direct evidence of the existence of this kingdom. This find is a clear confirmation that the Bible not only records spiritual events but also offers an accurate historical account of figures and dynasties. In this sense, biblical coherence is reinforced by these concrete pieces of evidence. Archaeological evidence also confirms the existence of cities and civilizations described in the Bible, such as Babylon and the Assyrian Empire. For example, the Ishtar Gate and other Babylonian ruins reveal the grandeur of this civilization mentioned in biblical accounts. These results not only validate the Bible as a reliable historical record but also demonstrate the impact these events had on the development of humanity. When considering the preservation of the Bible, we see that it is not just a religious text but a document that connects us directly to ancient history. Therefore, archaeological discoveries continue to provide evidence that biblical accounts are not mere allegories or myths but well-documented historical facts. Each new excavation and piece of evidence found reinforces the historical credibility of the Bible and its reliability. When we analyze these finds, we see that the Bible maintains an impressive consistency over the millennia. Archaeology is key to uncovering the secrets of biblical history, as well as a starting point for confirming the existence of biblical characters and events. Confirming the historicity of biblical figures and events. The Bible mentions various historical figures that were long questioned by skeptics. However, over the years, many of these figures have been confirmed through external evidence. A prime example is King Hezekiah, mentioned in the Old Testament as one of the rulers of Judah. His existence was confirmed by several finds in the region, such as Hezekiah's tunnel, an engineering feat mentioned in the Bible. This tunnel, which still exists today, provides concrete proof that biblical accounts have a real historical basis. Another figure whose historicity has been confirmed is Nebuchadnezzar, the powerful king of Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar's reign and achievements are recorded both in the Bible and in Babylonian records. His destruction of Jerusalem, as described in the Scriptures, is corroborated by archaeological finds. The reliability of the Bible is strengthened when we consider events like this, which are confirmed by ancient documents and excavations. These biblical facts are clear evidence that the Bible contains not only spiritual stories but also real historical events. Figures like Cyrus the Great, who allowed the Jews to return to their homeland after the Babylonian exile, are also confirmed by non-biblical historical documents. Cyrus's achievements and decrees are referenced both in the scriptures and in Persian records. The Cyrus cylinder, an ancient inscription found in Mesopotamia, details his policy of religious tolerance and confirms the biblical account that he allowed the Jews to rebuild their temple. This consistency between biblical accounts and external sources provides contained proof of the Bible's accuracy. Regarding Jesus Christ, while his impact is widely recognized for its concrete implications, many historical records also confirm his existence. Roman historians such as Tacitus mention Jesus' execution during the governorship of Pontius Pilate. This external confirmation of crucial biblical events reaffirms their historicity. Additionally, ancient Jewish writings, such as the Talmud, mention Jesus of Nazareth, demonstrating that his life and work extend beyond the biblical text. These examples illustrate how biblical discoveries are reinforced by the confirmation of the historicity of figures and events. Each confirmed figure and proven event strengthens confidence in the scriptures as a reliable source. And as we look at the consistency between biblical accounts and history, we see that despite different authors and eras, there is a remarkable unity in the text. This leads us to consider how the Bible, despite its diversity, maintains an impressive internal coherence. Internal coherence of the Bible. Despite being written by around 40 different authors over approximately 1,500 years, the Bible maintains an impressive internal coherence. Each author, coming from diverse historical, cultural, and social contexts, contributed to a text that remains harmonious in its central message. This, in itself, is a remarkable feature. Even with the variety of styles and perspectives, there is a clear unity that spans from Genesis to Revelation, affirming the biblical modifications and reinforcing trust in the scriptures. This coherence is particularly evident in recurring themes such as creation, fall, redemption, and restoration of humanity. The Old Testament sets the stage for the New Testament, where prophecies about the Messiah, for instance, find their fulfillment in Jesus Christ. This shows a thematic continuity that would not be possible if the Bible were merely a collection of unrelated texts. The biblical coherence is a testament to the divine inspiration behind the biblical accounts, and this harmony between books written in such different eras is one of the factors ensuring the Bible's authenticity. The Bible's thematic unity can also be seen in matters of morality and conduct. From instructions on justice and mercy in the books of Moses to Jesus' teachings on loving one's neighbor, there is a continuous thread guiding the reader on issues of ethics and behavior. Even with the evolution of social contexts over the centuries, a central message about how humans should behave towards God and others remains intact. This coherence is clear evidence that the biblical texts have been preserved with great fidelity. Additionally, the Bible provides a cohesive view of the purpose of life and the relationship between God and humanity. From the beginning, when God creates man in his image, to the end, when the promise of a new heaven and a new earth is presented, there is a natural flow of events and themes. This alignment of ideas across various books and authors reinforces the thematic unity of the Bible and strengthens its message. When considering the preservation of the Bible over the centuries, this internal coherence is one reason it remains an impactful and transformative work. Finally, this internal consistency not only reinforces the Bible's relevance but also enhances its historical credibility. After all, how could a book written over so many years maintain such profound harmony without superior inspiration guiding its authors? This coherence, besides being impressive, prepares us to understand how the Bible's thematic unity, in its various aspects, also connects with the fulfillment of its prophecies, which we will explore next. The thematic unity of the Bible. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Bible is its thematic unity, which spans generations, cultures, and different literary styles. From Genesis to Revelation, the central message of redemption, faith, and morality remains intact. Even though its authors lived in completely different times and circumstances, they shared a consistent vision of the relationship between God and humanity. This unity reflects the preservation of the Bible and the care taken to ensure its biblical updates over time. The theme of salvation and redemption is a clear example of this unity. In the Old Testament, we see God's plan revealed through the promise of a Messiah who would save the people. In the New Testament, this promise is fulfilled in Jesus Christ, whose life and sacrifice bring redemption to all. The coherence between these parts, despite the long temporal gap, strongly indicates that the biblical texts have been preserved authentically and that the Bible has not lost its message over the centuries. This also demonstrates the Bible's truth by uniting its central themes. Another theme that runs throughout the Bible is the justice of God. From the laws given to Moses, to the warnings of the prophets and the teachings of Jesus, there is a continuous emphasis on the importance of living justly and righteously. This consistency in addressing such essential themes gives the Bible its unique character. It doesn't matter whether the text was written by a prophet or an apostle, the thematic unity concerning morality remains steadfast. This thematic unity is what enables the Bible to have an impact across different historical and cultural contexts. The theme of God's covenant with His people is also present from the beginning to the end of the Bible. In the Old Testament, we see covenants made with Abraham, Moses, and David. In the New Testament, this covenant is definitively fulfilled through Jesus, who establishes a new covenant with all of humanity. This thematic continuity reflects biblical coherence, where each biblical account contributes to a larger and more complete picture. The thematic unity of the Bible is one of the factors that has made it so impactful and transformative, proving its relevance over the millennia. This unity of themes reinforces that the Bible, despite its diversity of authors and periods, maintains a clear and concise message about the purpose of life, the relationship with God, and the path to salvation. And this consistency is proof of biblical accuracy, showing that, although it is composed of many books, there is a single purpose underlying them all. This thematic unity also directly connects with the fulfillment of biblical prophecies, which we will explore next. Fulfillment of biblical prophecies. One of the most impressive pieces of evidence for the truthfulness of the Bible is the fulfillment of its prophecies. Throughout the Scriptures, we find specific predictions made centuries before they came to pass in precise detail. The most notable example is Jesus Christ, who was prophesied in numerous passages of the Old Testament. From the location of his birth in Bethlehem, as predicted by Micah, to the details of his crucifixion described in Psalm 22, these prophecies are powerful testaments to biblical specificity. The fulfillment of these predictions reinforces trust in the Scriptures as a reliable and inspired source. In addition to prophecies about Jesus, there are many instances of historical events that came to pass exactly as foretold. A striking example is the fall of Babylon, predicted by the prophets Isaiah and Jeremiah. They described how a powerful city would be taken and how its inhabitants would be scattered. Centuries later, Cyrus the Great conquered Babylon just as prophesied, demonstrating that biblical texts do more than offer spiritual insights, they also accurately report historical facts. The reliability of the Bible is reinforced by these clear examples of fulfilled prophecies. Other prophecies, such as the return of the Jews to their homeland after the exile, also serve as evidence that the Bible is more than just a religious text. Ezekiel and Isaiah foretold the return of the exiles to the land of Israel, something that was historically realized. The preservation of the Bible and the accuracy with which these specific prophecies came to pass highlight its reliability and the fact that it has remained true over the centuries. This provides historical proof of the Scriptures' truth and the impact they have had on the course of humanity. The fulfillment of biblical prophecies is not limited to past events. Many scholars believe that some predictions are yet to be fulfilled, which continues to maintain the interest and relevance of the Scriptures in our time. The fact that so many prophecies have already been realized with such precision encourages us to reflect on the future promises described in the Bible. Biblical prophecy is not only about what has happened but also about what is yet to come, showing us that the Bible's impact continues to shape our vision of the future. These examples of fulfilled prophecies demonstrate that the Bible is more than an ordinary book, providing clear evidence of its divine inspiration. The biblical consistency in relation to its specifics, along with their fulfillment, reinforces trust in the Scriptures. Therefore, the truth of the Bible is confirmed not only by its preservation over time but also by the faithful fulfillment of its words. Now, we can explore how these prophecies, whether fulfilled or future, impact the world and history in deeper ways. Historical prophecies and their impact on the world. Biblical prophecies not only came to pass in the past but also left a profound impact on the course of history. The fall of great empires, such as Babylon, was a significant milestone not only for the people of Israel but for the world as a whole. The Bible had already foretold through prophets like Isaiah and Jeremiah that this global power would fall. And when it happened, history was transformed. This event demonstrated the biblical prophecy and its power, shaping the future of nations and proving the truth of the Bible. Another example of a historical prophecy with a major impact was the return of the Jews to Israel after the Babylonian exile. Prophets like Ezekiel and Isaiah had foretold this would happen, and centuries later, the restoration of the Jewish people occurred, not just once, but multiple times throughout history. In modern times, the return of the Jews to Israel in 1948 was seen by many as further confirmation that biblical prophecies continue to be fulfilled, influencing geopolitics and the declarations of various nations. This kind of fulfillment reinforces trust in the Scriptures and the impact of the Bible on global events. The prophecy about the destruction of Jerusalem given by Jesus is another that came true with dramatic results. He predicted that the temple would be destroyed and that not one stone would be left upon another. Just a few decades later, in AD 70, Jerusalem was invaded by the Romans, and the temple was destroyed exactly as he had foretold. This event had a lasting impact on the history of the Jewish people and the formation of Christianity. The preservation of the Bible allows us to continue seeing the fulfillment of these prophecies and how they shape the course of world history. The impact of biblical prophecies can also be observed in how they have shaped the belief systems and values of entire civilizations. Over the centuries, many leaders and nations have shaped their policies and conduct based on the instructions and teachings found in the Scriptures. The influence of the Bible is undeniable, serving as a guide for many seeking morality, justice, and a deeper understanding of the future. Biblical consistency, along with the fulfillment of its prophecies, ensures that a reliable Bible continues to influence thought and action in the modern world. Through its prophecies, the Bible not only recounts the past but also offers a vision of the future that continues to resonate in the minds of millions. It is this ability to predict and shape events that continues to demonstrate its relevance. Now, we can delve into another fascinating aspect, the social and cultural impact that the Bible has had throughout history, and how it continues to powerfully transform society. Social and cultural impact of the Bible. The impact of the Bible on society and culture is immense and multifaceted. From ancient times to the present day, the Scriptures have shaped laws, values, and social norms. In many Western countries, biblical principles have influenced the creation of laws and justice systems. For example, the concept of equality before the law and the importance of social justice have deep roots in biblical teachings. The reliable Bible has served as a guide for morality and ethics, shaping the legal culture of many nations. In art and literature, the Bible's influence is equally significant. Biblical stories, characters, and themes have inspired countless works over the centuries. Artists like Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci depicted biblical scenes in their masterpieces, while writers like John Milton and William Blake explored biblical themes in their poetry and prose. This influence demonstrates how the Bible has shaped not only art but also creative thought and cultural expression throughout different historical periods. Beyond art and legislation, the Bible has had a profound impact on education and science. During the Middle Ages, Christian monasteries and schools preserved and transmitted essential knowledge, based on biblical principles. The Bible encouraged the pursuit of truth and understanding of the world, leading to advancements in various fields of knowledge. Even scientists like Isaac Newton and Galileo Galilei were driven by a biblical view of the universe, showing how the Bible influenced the way we understand science and nature. The Bible's impact is also evident in social and humanitarian issues. Movements such as the abolition of slavery and the struggle for civil rights were inspired by biblical principles of equality and justice. Leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. drew on biblical teachings to promote significant social change and fight against injustice. The reliable Bible continues to be a source of inspiration for those seeking to make a difference in the world and address social challenges with an ethical and moral perspective. The Bible's influence on global culture is a testament to its enduring relevance and power. From art and legislation to science and social justice, the Scriptures have shaped and continue to shape the way we live and understand the world around us. As we explore the moral impact of the Bible on society, we will see how its messages shape individual and collective behaviors and values. Moral influence of the Bible on society. The Bible has played a fundamental role in shaping the moral and ethical standards of societies around the world. Its teachings on justice, compassion, and integrity have guided human behavior and molded social norms since ancient times. The Sermon on the Mount, for example, offers a set of ethical principles that have influenced not only personal life but also social and legal practices in many cultures. These biblical principles serve as moral lessons for building just and balanced societies. The Bible's moral influence is evident in how societies define right and wrong. Concepts such as love for one's neighbor, honesty, and forgiveness, present in biblical teachings, have become pillars of social ethics. Leaders and social reformers often rely on these principles to promote positive change and combat injustices. The reliable Bible provides a solid foundation for moral principles that transcend cultural and temporal boundaries, highlighting its continued importance in defining social values. Moreover, the Bible has served as a source of inspiration for altruistic and philanthropic actions. Many charitable organizations and humanitarian movements are grounded in biblical principles of love and service to others. The examples of good deeds and sacrifices found in biblical texts motivate people to engage in social causes and contribute to the collective well-being. The Bible's moral influence is visible in the efforts of individuals and groups to help the less fortunate and promote social justice. The Bible's impact on morality can also be seen in the traditions and customs that shape daily life. Festivities like Christmas and Easter, which have biblical roots, significantly influence behaviors and values. Beyond their religious celebrations, these occasions promote messages of love, hope, and renewal, which permeate culture and social life. The reliable Bible continues to shape cultural traditions and guide social practices, remaining relevant and influential. Finally, biblical morality serves as a personal guide for many, helping individuals make ethical decisions and live according to their values. The Bible's influence on personal morality is profound, offering a framework for living a life of integrity and purpose. As we explore how the Bible transforms individual and collective lives, we can also see how personal and spiritual transformation is a natural continuation of this moral influence. Personal and spiritual transformation through the Bible. The Bible has a remarkable power to transform lives in deep and meaningful ways. Many accounts of people who have found new purpose and direction in their lives through reading and applying the Scriptures are truly inspiring. The biblical message offers hope, guidance, and a path for personal and spiritual growth. Testimonies of individuals who have overcome challenges, found inner peace, and developed a deeper relationship with God are living proof of the Bible's transformative impact. Stories of personal transformation often include changes in behaviors and attitudes. Someone who once lived in despair may find hope in God's promises and experience a renewal of spirit. For example, a former addict may find strength in the message of redemption and restoration offered by the Bible, altering the course of their life. The Bible's influence on personal transformation is a powerful testament to its ability to positively impact individuals' lives in practical and profound ways. In addition to personal transformation, the Bible also promotes a profound spiritual change. The practice of meditating on the scriptures and applying its principles can lead to a richer and more meaningful spiritual experience. Many find that prayer and biblical study provide a sense of connection with God that transcends daily concerns and offers purpose and direction. The reliable Bible, when studied and lived out, provides a spiritual transformation that reflects in behavior, attitudes, and relationships with others. The transformative impact of the Bible can also be seen in entire communities. Groups and churches that come together around biblical principles often promote initiatives that benefit society and address social issues. The Bible inspires not only personal changes but also collective actions aimed at improving the lives of those around them. This collective transformation, fueled by the biblical message, demonstrates how the teachings of the Scriptures can result in positive social impact. These examples of personal and spiritual transformation highlight the Bible's ongoing power to change lives. As we explore how the Bible shapes and influences individual and community life, it becomes clear that the Scriptures' influence is a living and relevant force. This personal transformation serves as a bridge to understanding the global accessibility and preservation of the Bible, which we will explore next. Global acceptance and preservation of the Bible. The Bible is undoubtedly one of the most accepted and preserved texts worldwide. Its influence transcends cultural and geographic boundaries, reaching a diverse range of cultures and religions over the centuries. The Bible's global accessibility reflects its ongoing relevance and the trust that various peoples place in the Scriptures. Even in varied contexts, the Bible is considered a source of wisdom and guidance, demonstrating its ability to resonate with different communities. The preservation of the Bible over the centuries is a testament to its impact and importance. From ancient manuscripts to modern editions, the biblical text has been carefully copied and transmitted. Biblical translations, made in virtually every language in the world, reflect the ongoing effort to make the Scriptures accessible to all. The reliable Bible has been maintained with a notable commitment to accuracy, ensuring that its message remains intact through linguistic and cultural changes. In addition to physical preservation, the Bible's accessibility is also evident in its role in religious practices and daily life. Churches, synagogues, and study groups around the world use the Scriptures as a spiritual guide, and its influence is evident in celebrations, traditions, and teachings. The Bible's impact on religious life is profound, shaping not only thought but also cultural and social practices. The global accessibility of the Bible is proof of its fundamental role in spiritual and community life. The preservation of the Bible is also supported by organizations dedicated to ensuring that the Scriptures are preserved for future generations. Digitization projects, manuscript conservation, and ongoing translations are just a few examples of the commitment to preserving the Scriptures. These efforts not only ensure the Bible's continuity but also make it accessible to those seeking its teachings. The Bible's impact is kept alive through these initiatives that ensure its messages are preserved and transmitted effectively. The global commitment to the accessibility and preservation of the Bible demonstrates the enduring importance of the Scriptures in the modern era. As we move on to explore the next phase, we will see how the Bible continues to impact life and culture on a global scale, reinforcing its vital role in world history and spirituality. So, what did you think of everything we explored today? The Bible has been a beacon for so many people around the world, guiding lives and hearts in deep and meaningful ways. Its teachings still have the power to transform and inspire, even today. Have you thought about how these teachings might make a difference in your own life? How can the Bible help answer your questions or offer a new perspective? We'd love to hear your stories and thoughts, so leave a comment and share with us. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep discovering how this knowledge can touch your life, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications.